Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Positivity. I'm your host, Zykia McCoy. Here at Cooking with Positivity, we like to focus on positivity leading to success, whether that be in your business, in your love life, or in your everyday decision making. Happy Monday, everybody. It is my favorite day of the week, and this also is our first Monday of Mother's Month. And we are talking motherhood as leadership. Not just biological motherhood, not just raising children, but the kind of nurturing, teaching, guiding, protecting, and building that shapes lives, communities, generations. This month is about honoring the women whose wisdom became our foundation. The ones who built while we tried, the ones who built while tired, the ones who loved while stressed, the ones who loved while stretched thin, the ones who led without always receiving recognition and acknowledgement. Today we begin with a woman whose legacy reminds us that education, wisdom, and motherhood all work together to build futures. Today, from Soil to Strength, feature is Anna Julia Cooper. Anna Julia Cooper was an educator, scholar, author, and one of the most powerful intellectual voices of her time. She believed deeply that education was one of the strongest tools for liberation, empowerment, and generational change. She understood something that still applies today. When you educate one person, you may change a moment. But when you build wisdom into a generation, you change the future. Her work centered around the advancement of Black women, education as evolution, and using knowledge as a pathway to freedom. And that connects directly to Mother's Month because mothers are often our first teachers. And if we're lucky, you get a scene from my childhood with my mother with one of those teachable moments. Now, before school, before books, before the world tells us who we are, there's often a woman somewhere planting seeds, teaching us, correcting us, guiding us, preparing us. That is leadership. And Anna Julia Cooper said, the cause of freedom is not the cause of race or a sex, but the cause of humankind. That quote reminds us that true leadership isn't selfish. It's not just about personal success. It's about creating pathways that others can walk through after you. And that's what motherhood often represents. Building something bigger than yourself. Today I want us to think differently about leadership. A lot of times when people hear the word leader, they think of titles like CEO, founder, manager, boss. But some of the strongest leadership happens quietly in the kitchen, in the late night conversations, in the sacrifice no one sees, in lessons repeated over and over and over until they become part of who we are. Let's be real, some of us need a little bit more lessons being taught, okay? Leadership is consistency. Leadership is correction with love. Leadership is showing someone how to keep going, even when life gets hard. And when I think about Mother's Month, I think about all the ways mothers lead without applause. We build routines, we create stability, we hold emotional weight, and we pour into others often while still trying to fulfill ourselves. That is leadership in motion. And whether your mother was your greatest teacher, whether another woman stepped into that role, or whether you are becoming that source of wisdom for someone else, there is value in recognizing the leadership that built you. And here at Cooking on Positivity, we always love to bring it back to the kitchen. And you know, around here, we not only stretch our backs and bellies, but we love to stretch our pockets. And this month especially, we want to remind us that stretch of mothers. Because mothers have mastered the art of stretching. Stretching meals, stretching budgets, stretching patience, and let's be honest, some of you stretch that patience a lot farther than some of us, and stretching energy. My goodness, making enough out of what looked like not enough. Turning simple ingredients into memories. I have so many amazing memories with my mom making a dish that seems simple to most, but lit up my life. Lit up my dinner time. Lit up my holiday. Turning limited resources into abundance. That's what we do as women. That's what we do as Black women. And that's what we do as mothers. That's leadership. That's wisdom. That's legacy. This week, I want you to think about something practical. What wisdom was passed down to you that still sustains you today? Maybe it was financial. Maybe it was emotional. Maybe it was something as simple as how to make a meal stretch, which, as you heard here on Cook on Positivity, I have learned that lesson with abundance. Okay? That's all legacy. And I want you to think about that. And think of that moment while we affirm who we are here. I honor the wisdom that built me. I carry lessons rooted in strength. I lead with grace, intention, and purpose. I trust the foundation that shaped me. I am building legacy through every choice I make. I'm going to say that again. I honor the wisdom that built me. I carry lessons rooted in strength. I lead with grace, intention, and purpose. I trust the foundation that shaped me. I am building legacy through every choice I make. Now I know it's a lot, and I don't want you to say it all if it doesn't apply. Say what you want and affirm it to your life. But I do want you to say it while you're working out. I do want you to say it while you're cooking. I do want you to say it after you get the kids to bed. I want you to say it while you're brushing your teeth. I know it may be difficult, but you got this. You can do it. I want you to say it, know it, believe it, and affirm it. And as you move through this week, ask yourself, what wisdom am I carrying forward? What lessons have shaped the way I lead? And how am I building something that will outlive this moment? Because leadership isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like consistency. You continue to show up. You continue to be there. You continue to show that support. Sometimes it looks like sacrifice. And that's a completely different type of leadership. Because you have to decide, what are you willing to sacrifice to show up? What are you willing to sacrifice to lead, to shape this? And sometimes it looks like simply showing up again. We talked about last month, I had a lot of engagements. And with my limited mobility, I needed to focus on not saying yes to everything and trying to be there and show up for the important things without letting everybody down, and also honoring myself and showing up again for those individuals who need it. Now this month, I want us to intentionally celebrate the women who built us. We're talking moms. So we want you to send us your shout outs. We want you to talk about what your mother taught you, what your grandmother taught you, what your auntie taught you, what the women who raised you, the woman you call mother, who helped shape your life. You want to know what's one lesson they taught you that you still use to guide you today. I want you to send us messages. I want you to shout them out in voice messages that we can play on Cooking with Positivity, because it is Mother's Month. And I do want to remind you and thank you in advance for voting for me for the Supermom competition. If you guys listened last week, you know what this competition means to me. And I'll refresh your memory without trying to get overly emotional about it. This competition, to me, lends on legacy. Not just for myself, but it says that my mother, who I feel is a supermom, raised a supermom. And I can not only show up and be a supermom for my kids, despite my limited mobility, despite my anxiety, despite my depression. It says I'm deserving of that title, supermom. And it helps me, will help me to further build the legacy that I have already started by showing up, by sacrificing, by pivoting, by adjusting, by doing all the things. And again, I want to thank you in advance. If you voted for me, you helped me reach the top 15. This week, we're leaning towards top 10. And I want to again thank you in advance, because it means a lot to me to have the support of everyone, especially the CWP family. Outside of my main family, you guys are it for me. And I appreciate you. And until tomorrow, which I hope all of you will tune in, please share. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Help us spread this positive movement. and have a great and positive rest of your day and a great and positive rest of your week.